Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Akonbe Hamidat, your host for this program. If you are a new subscriber, don't forget to click on the subscribe button. And if you are an old subscriber, kindly stay tuned. On the program today, we are going to be talking about positioning our business in the digital space. And I am not going to be talking about it alone. I'm going to have a special guest here that is going to walk us through how to properly position our business in the digital space. He's a digital and design thinking expert, and he's going to elaborate properly for us. So kindly stay tuned and we'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. Like I said earlier, today we'll be talking about positioning our business in the digital space, and we'll also be having a special guest. So, with me here, I have Mr. Afiz Adetuji, a digital and design thinking expert. Good day, sir.
Good day.
How are you doing today?
I'm very well. Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so to kick off the show, since we are talking about positioning our business in digital space, I think the best way to start is to properly to explain to us like what a digital space is or what the digital space is.
Okay, I think that's a good question, and thanks for asking. I'd like to think of the digital space, as an entirely new universe on its own, which is created by technology, right?
Okay.
And everything you're doing traditionally, either buying or selling, communication, meeting people, it is a space where it helps you simplify all these things. So the process of buying is simplified. The process of a company or a business selling to consumers is simplified as well. It's simplified as well. So if it is communication too, that also is simplified. So it is a space created by technology that helps you do things easier and faster in simple terms.
Well, that's a very simple way to put it. So I think what tools or advantages do you think the digital space has to offer businesses?
Okay, the way we do businesses run their thing is initially to, when you want to sell something, you have to find the customers, however you can. Maybe you have to go to the roads to talk to them, meet them. But in a digital space, people that you have never seen before, that do not know that you existed ever before, you can approach them in the digital space without even leaving your space. You're in Nigeria, you're in Ghana, your business is located in maybe one of these locations, and then you can position yourself to meet and interact with potential customers in the US, in the UK, without leaving your space. So one of the greatest advantage being in the digital space as a business is that you're able to spread your wings and reach out to people that you've never met. It will help you expand quickly. So in that sense, you're maximizing profits, and then you're reaching wider audience as well. So yeah, I think that's one of the greatest advantage digital space have for business.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so now we understand what the digital space is and we understand the advantages it has to offer. So now the question is, how does a business properly position themselves in the digital space?
I think that's a good question too, because here's what a lot of businesses think. A lot of people that build business, here's what they think. I want to start selling something, and then the first thing I have to do is to give my business a name. Yeah, it's one of those things. The second thing they would think is, okay, I just want to go on social media. I want to go on Facebook. I want to have a Facebook page, which is one of the things that we think about. But here is what is needed to be done before you can even think about going into all those places. You have to clearly define um, your values, what your business have to offer.
Sure.
You have to clearly define who your target audience are. Yeah, I'd like to think of this thing as, this positioning of a thing as a person. If you know me, it gives you an idea of how you can communicate with me. And if I want you to communicate with me, if I want you to relate with me in one way or the other, you would want to, know my name. I want you to know my name. So the way I present myself to you, the way I let you know who I am, so that you have an understanding of how you would engage with me, how you would do business with me, or the kind of name you're going to call me. I'd like to see positioning a brand in that sense, right? So if you see your brand as you telling people about yourself, what your name is, your principles, your values, then people will be excited enough to interact with you, to do business with you, to communicate with you. The same thing is, you know, related to how you have to position your brand. Because the people that want to buy something from you, the people that you want to serve, they also have a lot of people that are doing the same thing that you do. So what are the things that really set you apart, that makes you unique in that sense? So how do you tell them that you're different from these other people? How do you really tell them that? Because at the end of the day, they can as well go to other places to buy the same thing that you sell, the same services
that
that
you
you
offer.
render, right? They can as well go to other businesses. But
Mm.
what are you doing differently? You have to clearly state that before you can now think of, yes, I want to go on Facebook, to communicate with my audience, potential audience. I want to go to Instagram to communicate with them. I want to go to Twitter to communicate with them. So before you actually think of going into the digital space, people have to know what you're really communicating to
Yeah.
them, right? So yeah, those are the kind of things you need to do, which is very, very much important. You have to, state clearly your own identity before you move on.
Okay. Well, that's pretty interesting. Proper communication with before you even go out there, you should be able to properly establish who you are and what message you want your customers to receive. So actually been in the digital space for like a while, and we know we have various means of digital marketing. We have social media marketing, we have influencer marketing, we have search engine optimizations, and the rest of it. So let's talk about social media marketing. How do you see, people have this misconception that if you have so many followers on social media, that converts to sales. Meanwhile, sometimes your followers don't actually even buy from you. So, and how do you how do I say it? How do you properly calculate your conversion? Do you
Okay.
understand?
Yes, please. So I think this is also a very interesting question. And it is important that we clear the space very well so that people understand. Yeah. So a lot of businesses are really concerned about how much likes they get, how much followers they have. But the question is how much people are really their customers, not for the sake of numbers, but for the sake of conversion,
Conversion.
right? I think what people need to really focus on is how they can really properly communicate. I mean, telling their stories, right? What people want to know about you is how well you're going to serve them, and how well the product you're selling to them or the service you're selling to them is going to really solve their problem. So how do you now tell that story to them? Because it's not a case of having a social media page, maybe on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, either of them, having a social media page and posting pictures every day, right? So if you do post pictures every day that really would compel them to come and patronize you, that's fine. But how do you tell the story of the journey of how the product or the service you're rendering would really solve their problem? That would, in a way, connect with their emotion, right? Because at the end of the day, they are buying physical product or you're rendering a service to
Service.
them, but it's solving a specific problem in their lives, right? So if you do communicate it very well, here's what will happen. They will continue to share your own story of how your product or your service is solving their problem,
Problem.
right? When they share, your fan base is going to grow. And when it grows, it means that conversions begin to come in.
Because you have actual people that are actually interested in the service that you
Exactly.
offer, not people that are
Exactly.
just passing by.
Yeah.
Because from my research, I find out that most people or businesses they have millions of followers, but like when they do posts, when they put something out there, less than 1% of their followers actually reacts to it, and I don't think that is proper conversion. So
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
okay, so what tools are out there that people need to use while in the digital space to properly help them reach their target audience?
Okay. I talked about people really not understanding how they should start if it is really to give their business a name and then move into Facebook because a lot of people are on Facebook, right? But that's not the case, right? There's a lot of tools on the internet that they can use, and there are stages to how you communicate with your audience, right?
Mhm.
So if you are on Facebook, choosing Facebook to be a medium of communication, how you really want to position yourself in front of the people you want to serve, and when you're communicating with them, you're done telling your stories. They patronize you at the end of the day. So how do you keep the communication going? I think that's another question. So the tools that are available out there, you can send retargets. I mean, you can remarket to them. After they purchase a good, after you've offered them a service, then they paid you completely. So you can use there's a lot of tools out there, but a few of them are Mailchimp,
Mention.
yeah, and then there's HubSpot. You can start with free options, free packages. That will help you scale. So if you're able to serve your customers and you're not able to build a relationship with communication with them, it doesn't make any sense because you're not doing business with them at the end of the day. If someone patronized you once, maybe on Facebook, how do you measure from where the person patronized you, right? That is the reason why when a company, a small company, let's say a startup, wants to start out, right? You have to clearly identify where you're starting, which I said earlier. Maybe you want to choose Facebook. You don't have to always be, you don't have to be everywhere.
Pick a
If you want to
particular.
choose Facebook, focus on Facebook because you are a startup. You can to pay people that would help you monitor those things would cost you a lot. But if you can focus on just one, which will help you measure how people are coming and how often you serve them, then the other ways you can communicate with them could be Mailchimp, using Mailchimp or HubSpot, so which will help you keep proper communication and remarketing other products you have. Then, if you would like to check on them or maybe, ask questions, get feedback from them, you can use all these tools, which are very cheap. They have starter package for free. So you can use these tools as well.
And I think you can also use Google Ads to do remarketing through either video or display ads to
Yes,
target people that have already patronized your business or potential people that will patronize your
of
business.
course, of course.
Yeah.
But there's one thing we have to understand. You know, you need to start um, from the scratch. Yeah, we know that if you want to start a business, you start from scratch. But start with what is realistic to you, what you really can achieve right now. If you talk to one person uh, with your business, you talk to your potential clients, maybe a friend, you talk to him and you offer him your service or you sold the goods to the person. If the person is satisfied, you tell the other person. So you can start from there.
Yeah.
Google
Referrals.
advertisement platform, yeah, it is very good to reach wider audience on the internet. But at the same time, you have to understand how much organic and traditional marketing, mouth to mouth marketing is very important. So you have to start from there, but not ruling out the fact that at some point you still need to spread your wings to reach people outside your domain so that they can patronize you and then you grow from there. So yeah, you have a point there. True.
Okay. So what are some of the common mistakes that businesses that are already in the digital space, what are some of the common mistakes that they make, and startups can learn from so that they don't make those same mistakes?
Okay, I think one of many mistakes they make is not being able to communicate properly.
With
You
their
know,
clients.
yes. So not being able to keep that relationship, because relationship is very important. Someone might um, patronize your business for the first time. How are you keeping or building a relationship with that person? Because if I patronize your business for the first time and it is good, right? What you sold to me is good, fine. So how do you continue to keep that relationship? If you are not able to communicate with me, to get feedback from me as a customer, like I said earlier, you're not really doing business with me. So if at the end of the day you didn't hear from me, the first thing you have to do is to continue to, keep in touch. So I think one of the mistakes businesses make, small businesses make, is to not build relationship with their customers. And at the end of the day, in design thinking, what is very special about it is that it helps you understand that you're not building for yourself. You're building for people. And if you know that you're building for people, you have to build with them.
With them.
And in the process of building with them, it helps you get their own opinion as to how you're going to sell them, how you're doing, what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. That would help you build better in creating a good customer experience for your customer. So I think one of the mistakes they make is not being able to create proper relationship with their customers so that they can build a good customer experience.
That's true, because I feel like having good interpersonal relationship with your consumer, it enables them to stay longer with you, because I've bought things for people that they check up on you, or if it's a product they'll be like, oh, how are you finding our product, are you do you have any issues in using it? And even if it's a
True.
service, they try to find out, okay, how was our service, should we expect you back, that kind of thing. Helps you create some kind of relationship, and when the need for you arises, they will not think twice before contacting you. So
Exactly.
interpersonal relationships with your clients is very, very important. Now, before I think we'll be rounding up soon. I introduced you as a design thinking expert. So in digital marketing, how does design thinking come in?
Okay. So design thinking is a very interesting topic, a very interesting profession, a very interesting thing to do. It helps you really understand that, aside from you building what you're building, there are still some people that really matter. Because at the end of the day, you are not the one that will use the product you're building, right? Other people, you're building them for people, like I said earlier. So, in digital marketing, what you need to know is the way people respond to services or businesses online. So if you're a digital marketer, it's not just to target, it's not just to advertise. You need to know what kind of message will compel people to really be interested. Yeah, I can see an ad on Facebook. Yeah, I can see an ad on Instagram, Twitter, or maybe I'm browsing some websites on Google and I see some Google ads. You know,
I
at the
can
end of the
choose not
day,
to interact with it.
exactly. At the end of the day, I'm not really interacting with those ads, and you're wasting a lot of money, right? So, what you need to know is the right information, the right communication to really target them, to compel them to interact. And at the end of the day, would convert to sales and you make your money. So it's not just all about running ads, right? It's not all about burning the money because running ads at the end of the day, if it's not converting, it results to
Lost.
waste of money, it results to loss. Correct. So the right thing to know is to understand the right communication to put out there. That is very vital. So I would say that is the only thing. That is one of the major things I would say. Okay, yeah, people should look out for, especially digital marketers.
Okay. We've been able to understand what the digital space is, the advantages it poses for businesses, how we can properly position our business in the digital space, and some of the disadvantages or some of the challenges that people in the digital space are facing or are posing. So now I'm going to ask if our expert has any other advice he has for, um, you know, startups or even people that are already in this digital space.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I think people have to understand one thing when you have a business you want to build. You have to understand very clearly that you are not creating that business because you only want to make money. That is one. You are not creating the business because you have a passion for, you know, just being an entrepreneur or having a business. You have to understand that you're creating that business to solve a specific problem. That is one of it. Two, you have to really acknowledge the fact that whatever you're building, either you're selling a good, you're selling goods or you're selling some service, right? You have to understand that you're not building anything for yourself, you're building for people. And then if you acknowledge that fact, you will understand how important good customer service experience is. Interpersonal relationship between your company, your business, and the consumers. The importance of those things. So it is very, very necessary, and let me say very important, to acknowledge those facts. So if you do not set out to um, launch your business or launch a company in with these principles, at the end of the day, you're going to lose a lot of people. I'm saying your consumers. You're going to lose a lot of them because you would not understand that, they really matter. Not just selling some kind of service to them, not just selling some kind of goods to them. You have to involve them in the process of building. You have to involve them in the process of some specific decision making when it has to do with how do we communicate with you? How have we been doing so far? You need some feedbacks. So in the process of doing that, you're really involving them in decision making in some really, really important parts of your business, right? So if you have that mindset of I am creating this business because I want to make some money, right? You will lose the concentration on the things that are much more important. So design thinking really tells you that you're building not for yourself, but for people that would consume your product or people that you're serving. So yeah, that's what I have for businesses and entrepreneurs out there.
Okay. My own little advice is the customer is always right. And in the digital space, because you are dealing with I don't want to say faceless, kind of faceless consumers, sometimes you tend to meet difficult people, and most times your difficult consumers later become your loyal consumers based on the way you treat them or the way you relate with them or the way you handle situations. So customer service is very, very important for any business, it is very, very important.
True.
On this note, I think we have come to the end of this session, and I hope we've been able to learn one or two things from our interaction with our experts. So,
Mhm.
guys, thank you for staying tuned up to this point. If you've not subscribed yet, kindly subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye.